Okay, you're all set, Ms. Dancer.
Okay. Good evening. In the absence of Chair Hall tonight, I'll be chairing the meeting as the vice chair. Our first order of business will be to call the meeting to order. So I'm calling to order the meeting of the Pelham School Committee on Thursday, July 1st at 6:03 p.m. We'll do a roll call attendance. So when I say your name, please respond with aye. Mr. Menino.
Menino, aye.
Ms. Barlow.
Barlow, aye.
And Ms. Dancer, present. Oh, I'm sorry. I said the wrong thing, but we got it all. Okay. The first order of business minutes, we don't have any, so we're going to move on to public comment. We do have a public comment document tonight, so we'll bring it up and scroll through it. I'd also just like to remind everybody that this is also available on the ARPS website. If you go to school committee and then to Pelham agendas, you'll find a link right next to the link for the agenda file. Okay.
For future reference, this typeface is good. I can read this.
Dr. Morris, am I supposed to scroll? Sorry. I should scroll the document?
I've been scrolling slowly. Am I going too slowly?
No, that's fine. I wasn't just sure if I was supposed to do it. Thank you.
Yep, it's one.
Thank you. All right, we will continue on now to the superintendent's update.
Yep, and I have, it's very brief. I don't have much of an update because we met recently and school year ended. But I just want to share my appreciation again. I know we talked about the last meeting for Justin Ardisi for stepping in up in a role, as well as Mickey Darling to be co-leaders of the school. Meeting with Mickey tomorrow. We'll work on getting a mentor for them to support them because we know that it's a big transition and a complicated set of circumstances of COVID's not gone from us, right? Our world, and we want to make sure they're supported as best as they can be. The other piece of good news is that we did receive a grant by we being the Pelham School District to support a 1 week more intensive academic experience. We're still working on details because we just found that out last week. But for students, particularly students who are struggling at the early grades with reading, given the year that we just completed. So we are looking to partner with our Amherst colleagues for just efficiency's sake in terms of bus and site location, because anytime you have a site, then you need a nurse, and it'd be pretty inefficient for that to happen just for Pelham. But that was welcome news, and we're loosely targeting, I believe, the first week in August for that sort of 1 week intensive experience. So that all those funds come from the Department of Education through a competitive grant process we applied to. That's really all I have for tonight.
Okay, following that is the chair's update. The chair's not here. The vice chair doesn't have any announcements. So I wonder if any of the school committee members have announcements that they'd like to make tonight. No. Wow. Okay. Moving right along. We're going to new and continuing business. The first item on the agenda is a discussion and vote on the superintendent evaluation. So I would like to just say before I go into the memo that goes with this, that for people watching, the superintendent evaluation is based on a rubric created by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Secondary education. And it has 4 standards that cover the whole breadth of a superintendent's responsibilities. And the school committee and the superintendent work together to create the goals each year within that rubric. And it is required to have at least one element from each standard in the goals so that there is a broad set of goals for the district and for the superintendent. So with that said, I think I'm going to read the memo. So if we could just bring that up on the screen, and people will be able to read it, but I'm going to go ahead and read it anyway. So Dr. Morris, attached, please find the summary of your evaluation for the 2021 school year. Similar to last academic year, 2021 was unprecedented in terms of the work of overseeing a school district during a global pandemic. But September through the first part of April were fully remote for teachers and students. As a body, the school committee works together to identify and communicate to the superintendent the measures chosen from the DESE rubric by which they will evaluate his or her work. This year, unlike last, we did have some sense of what was coming and were able to incorporate the response to and learning from world events into your performance goals. This final report summarizes the individual school committee members' evaluations of your performance over the 2021 school year and reflects the official position of the Pelham School Committee. All 5 members of the Pelham School Committee completed the entire evaluation form. The evaluation was informed by direct observation and participation of the superintendent in meetings and events, documents shared throughout the year, as well as a portfolio of artifacts submitted by the superintendent and a survey of the superintendent's direct reports in central office and the schools. Your overall performance was rated as proficient at 3.6 out of a score of 5. An average of 2.5 or greater is proficient. As defined by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, proficient performance is understood to be fully satisfactory for the superintendent and all other administrators as well as teachers. This is the rigorous expected level of performance. It is a demanding but attainable level of performance. I'm going to open it up. I think we could stop sharing now. I just wanted to read that. I felt it was meaningful for me to read it rather than just have people read that on the screen. And I'm going to open it up for comments from everyone. But before I do, Chair Hall sent me her comments since she couldn't be here. She did have comments that she would like to have read. So although strong evaluations speak for themselves, I think it's important to highlight the unique challenges Dr. Morris has faced in running a school district during a pandemic. He managed to address the immediate public health concerns presented by COVID while maintaining a focus on the budget, teaching and learning, and the other fundamental elements of a successful school district, all through a social justice lens. I have trust in and am grateful for Dr. Morris's leadership. So now, would other committee members like to make their comments? Mr. Menino.
Well, this is the time of year that I look forward to making a few comments. I'm delighted with Mike Morris's performance. I've observed his behavior. He's an honorable man. He's a fantastic superintendent. What I like most about the way he runs the show is his collaborative decision-making style. Before he makes a decision, he seeks input from every possible stakeholder there could be through conversations, talks, focus groups, surveys, whatever. I mean, collaboration leads to better decisions. My only hope is that he'll remain superintendent for the next 55 years. So this is nice to be able to say nice things about a good man, period.
Thank you, Mr. Menino. Ms. Barlow?
Yes, thank you. I'd also just like to echo my thanks and gratitude for Mike Morris. I feel like his leadership style was exemplary during this most challenging time. He really demonstrated a compassionate form of pragmatic leadership, if you will. Always thinking about the various constituents, thinking about the metrics, listening, and just exhibiting a lot of grace under pressure, which is really challenging to do. And I really appreciated working with him and watching him, work with the various constituents and really making sure that he was sharing the credit. I really appreciated that. He shares credit with thinking about all of the members of his team that helped us make it through an extraordinarily challenging year. So I agree. I really think that we're so fortunate to have Dr. Morris as a leader in our school system. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Barlow. And I guess I'll follow that up with, I echo all of those sentiments. This past year, everything was upended. Everything we know about school, about being in school and teaching school, it was just turned upside down. And you went through this year with such grace, and you were so calm, provided leadership as expressed in your 360 review by the other administrators and people in the district, and your collaboration with everyone. I think when people work together, the end result is better than everybody. And I think we saw that happen this year. And I want to thank you for all that you've done and look forward to another year. So I believe it's too bad that Ms. Kenny didn't make it, but we'll go on without her. I believe that we now have to vote on accepting the evaluation. So would somebody like to make a motion?
Brenda.
I motion to accept the evaluation as written.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. The motion has been made and accepted, so we will do a roll call vote. Mr. Menino,
Menino, aye.
Ms. Barlow,
Barlow, aye.
and Stancer, aye as well. And Dr. Morris, is it appropriate at this point for comments from you? Or
Sure, I'll keep it brief because you and I have a meeting that starts in a couple minutes, a different meeting. But I'm really humbled by the evaluations and particularly the comments tonight. And I think the thing I'd say is that it only works because I feel like it's a team, the school committee, myself. It's not that means we always agree, right? Because that's not necessarily the sign of a team. In fact, I think most teams, the disagreement's healthy, right? And we dig into issues, whether it's budget, whether it's curricular, which we've had over the last couple of years. But I just appreciate that this committee keeps students at the forefront of its decision making and collaboration, not just with me, but with the team. With the principal, like this year with Lee, with Doug Slaughter, who obviously you get to see a lot of in the winter and early spring, and like Tim Sheehan, other folks who are involved in Pelham School. Because that's really how it all works. And when there are hard moments, and we've had plenty this year, we're able to work through them because we're talking about it, and slightly awkwardly for you all because it's public meetings, and I know that's what you quote unquote signed up for. But this year the public part of it was perhaps a little more public than ever before in terms of how many people are watching. But I appreciate your kind words, but I think as much or more, just I appreciate the collaboration throughout the year and the good questions that get asked when we present that make us think deeper on the staff level, and look forward to hopefully having a somewhat smoother year next year. As I said before, COVID's not done. We're not over with it, but I think, a year in or a year plus in, we know a lot more, right? And we've been able to do a lot of work in the building, and I feel really good about where we are and steps we can take to continue to provide the high quality education that Pelham families have rightfully requested and demanded of us. And we want to continue to build on the work that's happened and get better in the future. So I appreciate all of your support and look forward to continuing to work with you in the future.
Okay, thank you. So moving right along, warrants are the next item, which we have none. And I believe we have no gifts to accept. So the next order of business would be a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second that.
Roll call vote. Mr. Menino,
Menino, aye.
Ms. Barlow,
Barlow, aye.
and Stancer, aye. The meeting is adjourned.
See you in August.
Thank you.